This is Ziva, one of the most anxious horses I've ever worked with. She loads herself into the float, but then freezes so hard she can't move her legs. She leans on the walls, panics at noise, and rushes backwards to escape. Today we are uncovering the real reason behind her loading problem, a freeze-fawn response hiding in plain sight. If you have a horse who shuts down, over-obeys, or melts under pressure, this session will make so much sense.
Good girl. So the first thing I noticed when you came up and I reached my hand out, she got worried about it and she like shied away. So I waited for her there and then she touched me and I retreated. So our biggest concept and tool today will be approach and retreat. You've probably heard of that, yeah? So with the approach and retreat, it's the same as pressure and release. It's another word for it. So the approach is the pressure, even though it doesn't seem like pressure to us sometimes, because that, like I'm reaching my hand out here, it doesn't seem like pressure, right, to the human, but that's enough pressure for her. Like she doesn't dare to come and have a look. So it's really important that I'm not going to say, oh, well, you don't want to say hello, I'll walk away. I'll just wait on her there and let her know that I respect her threshold right there. And just wait on her. There she's like sort of showing an interest, so then I retreat. Yeah, and it's about that timing, and there she even comes with me, which is nice. And I might, yeah, nice. And I retreat again. So I would do that. Nice. And then I retreat. So basically I'm not really just making friends with her right now. I'm really just letting her know that I'm not going to do any harm. Now I might just move along her side here and see what she does. She does, so that was subtle, but she was like, oh, I don't like you back there. I'll just back off. So I let her back off for now, because the first time we meet. But I'm going to try again. And I'll stand here. And there she lowers her head. And I'll sort of come around again. So with those sensitive horses, especially if they're sensitive, spooky, or sensitive, non-confident, I really make sure that I'm super, super attuned at the beginning and sort of let them know I'm just as sensitive and I can see exactly what's going on. Because I think a lot of times, and that's when they get frozen, is when people are not paying attention to that kind of stuff and then they freeze. So now I'm going to start. So that was just me just being sort of around her. And now I'll just start with a bit of touch and see how she feels about that. Is that fly bothering you, sweetie? Yes, a licking shoe. So the very beginning will probably be quite slow. So now I'll just touch and really pay attention to her facial expression, yeah? So I'm touching her here, and have you noticed that she stopped blinking? So she blinks, but it's like there was a deep blink. The first ones are really shallow. They were like real quick, and she didn't actually close the eyelids. So there was just a bit of freeze. I'm going to do, so that's pressure or approach right now, me coming up and patting her. There. And then the retreat is when she's quite calm about it. Yeah, nice. You good girl. Good girl. Nice. Which leg did you say? That's the one, yeah? Good girl. All right, I feel like so when she starts eating, I feel like we'd sort of established that she's calm enough that she can think about food. So when horses are nervous, they don't really think about food. That's why I don't, look, I'm not believing in food treats or teaching horses with food. I think there's a legitimate time to do that, especially in trick training and when you already got a confident horse and when they're like really extrovert and really smart. Like, it's a great way to motivate them and learn stuff. But if you have like an anxious horse that's internally like already on the edge, they don't really think about food, and then the food becomes like another stressor because now you're like withholding something if she doesn't do it, and then she just does it to get the food, and now it's all stressful. So that's why I don't, it depends really on the horse and where we're at in training, and I usually don't use any food in the beginning when I work with a horse. I feel like there has to be a pretty good relationship built with the horse already, and some respect too, like spatial respect. All right, she's got some good spatial awareness, like she's not on top of you, so that's good. So I don't think we need to work necessarily on that. You good girl. But yeah, even me just moving, see how she sort of went to eat grass, and then I was like, all right, we're gonna do something. Like she's like back up, like, hello sweetie. So this is great. Any other horse that would be with another reason, like if we wouldn't be working on confidence, I'd probably tell her to give me some space there. But her coming up and like wanting to engage and saying hello, I'll let her come in. Yeah, hello. All right, so I'll start by testing. So I've told you I'll test all the different pressures and just see how she's going. I'm going to start with steady pressure, which is basically us. That's the kind of pressure we use whenever we move them around and lead them, or when we ride. That's all steady pressure. Yeah, we're putting a feel onto their bodies and they need to yield to that. And innately, in like a horse that's born and never had human contact, their first response will always be to push into it. So we have to actually teach them to yield or to give to that kind of pressure. So that's why I just like to test where we're at. So the first thing I will do is like I put a feel on the halter, as in there, and just see how she leads. Good. Good. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Go backwards. And it will be essentially important to know that she can, for example, respond to this backup or the leading in when we go onto the trailer, yeah? So if I already can't lead her back and forth on the ground, that's probably would be the first step to work on. All right. Yeah, she gets a bit nervous. So now we're sort of starting the training. So I can tell that she's nervous, but I'm just going to stay sticky here and just let her know you'll be all right. So if I would, so initially I was like letting her back up and letting her be cool because I wanted to, you know, tell her that I'm aware of it. I'm still aware of it, but I'm going to challenge her a little bit on that now. Let's see how she feels about a robe. See how her head came up straight away? Good. Yeah. So there she was looking at it from the other side. And what you also notice me do every time I retreat, I'm going to try and move her feet so that I don't want her to get stuck or frozen. So here she blocks me again, and I'll just stick to it very calmly. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. And do that again. Yeah, good girl. And the head didn't come up this time? Good girl. All right, and I'll just test how she can bend her neck. Getting itchy, have you? All right, so here I'm asking her to bend her neck around, and she's not doing it. Yeah, and could be two reasons. Either she doesn't understand the pressure, which I don't believe, because she just did a beautiful backup, and she also just did a beautiful, like I could lead her sideways and could lead her. So this is her now being stuck, as in, so when a horse braces, the neck muscles tense, and they don't want to give their head because they're braced. Oh, good girl. So what I do is I don't pull harder and harder and make it like more difficult for her, or like, you know, demand this of her. I literally just hold her because I know that she feels the pressure and I know that she knows how to respond to it. I just tested it. So I just wait for her until it's mentally can unbrace. It's a mental thing, not a, so I'll just see how, if I put a light feel on her, I can move her around. That's how she operates, of such a light feel. So she understands it. I'm just going to move it to the camera there. So when I put that on right now, and I put a really light feel on, I sort of mark my point too, where my hand is right now. So it's here, so that I don't get into the habit. We quite often pull back as soon as they give. And I know she wants to scratch herself right now, but I'm just going to keep it on. And I just hold it here. Sometimes it helps to just give a cluck to tell her something's expected, and also to wake them up if they do get frozen. So now she's trying something. She's like, what if I back up out of that? Oh, here she unbraced, not because it was by coincidence, but sometimes if they do it by coincidence, they have like a little aha moment. Good girl. It's like she just doesn't want to look at me. It's like she just like, you're not there. If I don't look at you, you're not there. Then I don't have to then I don't have to deal with you. Oh, that's more so for me to have a where I'm standing, so I don't move backwards and forwards. It doesn't really have a function as such, my hand on the wither. I'm just repeating. Yeah, it can be here, wherever. It's just a focus point for me to not move around, because when we ask for stat, yeah, what a good girl. Good job. Yeah, you're right. She's like, am I allowed to scratch now? Yes, you are. Good girl. Good job. Yes, good job. Oh, now we're starting to release some pressure and some tension. So whenever they have like a bit of like resistance, and look, I know it doesn't look like a lot of resistance, and on the camera it will look like we've done nothing, but like for her, it took her a long time to give that head. So it was a lot of resistance for her. So I'll give her a big time to now process that and release that and go through it. So it's called that dwelling time. And they basically, while she's releasing tension now, there's the head shake, the yawn, the lick and chew, all the things are happening for her right now. Good girl. And then she's like, see how she's leaning in? So that's a really good sign. It's like she's starting to trust now. Good girl. Yes, you can. She's so obedient. Like she looks, yeah, she's not too shut down. I've seen worse, but she's very obedient. She's almost like she's just asked me, like, am I allowed to scratch my foot? All right, I'm just gonna, so that was big for her. It's coming back here. Good girl. She's very soft. She definitely understands that. Yes, good girl. Good. Yes, you can do it. Good. There, good girl. Good job. Just thinking about the eye too. It's gonna see. Sorry, sweetie. Sorry, sweetie. No, I think she's fine with the eye. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but she's blinking. Hmm. Yeah. Another just, you're right, sweetie. Yeah. Mm. Sometimes they rub their heads. That's another sign of a release. So quite often they go down and they rub their front leg. That's like a part of the release, like the head, that shaking, licking and chewing, yawning, that rubbing can all be signs of a release. We'll do the other side now. So once again, she's blocking me here, and I'm just gonna sort of stick with it there. Yeah, so you've got to be very careful. It is subtle, but it's also your intention. Like, what do you want in the moment? I didn't want her to move. I just wanted to come over here. I didn't ask in mind. So that's why we have to be really self-aware too when we work with horses about what our intentions are. And she had slack in the lead rope, so I've got a lot of slack. So so I'm not pulling her. And my intention was literally just walk along here. Yeah. Good girl. Hello. Hello. Yeah, she's like looking forward. She's like, oh, if I'm just, so now I'm going to put that rope over her again, which, there, what a good girl. Good girl. Just going to break it down. So with horses that are really sensitive or really nervous, if you, training takes a long time in the beginning because it needs to be very slow and you need to break down almost every step. But if she is like, if you break it down step by step, they usually then learn, like once they got it, they actually got it. But if you rush through it, it's like they never get it. So it's like, if you think of any task you have to do or anything you want to do with your horse, think of, how can I break it down to the tiniest steps? And then ask the first step. As soon as she does it, release. And go through that whole approach and retreat, pressure and release cycle for every single step. Then you combine them, and then she gets it better. Yeah. See how that she thought about it, but it took her like less. And then, so now I'm breaking it down. So I'm just going, so with another horse that wouldn't be so sensitive, I would come, I would put the rope on, I would straight away ask for the deflection. But because I know that all that bothers her, I just come over here. That's the first thing. Now she's relaxing. Now I put the rope on. So I'd really try and break this down. She put her head up. There you go. I jiggle it a little bit. She relaxes. The rope stops. I turn. I watch her. She stopped blinking again. I wait for her. Yep, she relaxes. So really pay attention to like those micro minutes where she like freezes and then stop and just let her have a minute to process. And it is a bit tedious in the beginning, but if you can build their confidence with all of that, and they get it, and they get more confident, and it won't take that long anymore. So here again. So see how she's like starting to almost close her eyes, and her ears are sort of sideways? That's her shutting down. There, good girl. So a freeze is wide eyes open, and sort of like real, like, yeah, but and they look really tense, so that's a freeze. When they look like they're almost going to sleep, but you're asking them actually something, or there's a situation, that's a shutdown. Good girl, yes, what a good girl, good job. All right. Okay. I'll leave it here for today because I don't want to drill on that. But that's definitely something I would work on. And it's mental. It's not physical. It's not that she can't bend her neck. It's mental. So yeah, just to see how she did that. That's a sign of release with the lick and chew and everything. Is that your mom? Nah. They get to know you. All right, so now I'm going to pick up my stick and string. I'm not going to pick up the flag just yet because I think, so even here now, she stepped back and I'll just chill. I've noticed it. I don't make a big fuss out of it as in like, oh, poor thing, and I'll take it away. I've noticed it and I'll just stop for a minute and I just see if she can self-regulate as in come back down a little bit by herself. Yeah.
I think there's probably been some very firm practices.
Just get it done, yeah, for sure. Yeah. There, she adjusts her stand now. See how she was like when we were talking about frozen stands? So when they freeze, they literally freeze their stands. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to show her my tool because I'm assuming there. See how she's given it the side eye? And if I want to build her confidence now, it's important for me to not take it away right now. There. So what's happening with approach and retreat when we want to build confidence, I'm just going to hold it in the approx. So I've got it about what, maybe 30 centimeters away from her nostril. If she moves away from it, it will follow her at 30 centimeters from her nostril. So a reaction, if she like reacts to it, won't take the pressure as in the tool off. What takes it off is if she can either regulate, which she's doing sort of now. I don't mind that. She's like sort of coming down. She's not confident right now to give it a sniff and have a look, but she's sort of coming down. She's not, whereas before she was like 2 ears, 2 eyes, side eye. I'm like, oh my God. All right. And then I might put it up there again. Yes, she's definitely not a confident horse. But that doesn't mean she can't become a confident horse. But at this stage, she's not. Here's also important that you notice when she's now going into shutdown rather than, so here, I think that's more relaxing because she moved her leg and her ears were still flickering and she lowered her head. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell and you just got to make a good guess. If she would go into shutdown, I would actually, there she, so see how she's moving? Oh, good. So it will actually follow her, because otherwise we'll teach her that she can just run away from stuff. Good girl. And they always have like a more confident side and a like less confident side, and like here the reaction was a little bit bigger. So I just took it off when she looked at it. Do you want to scratch that leg or not? Oh, there's a bit of a fly. All right. Now that's going to scare the shooters out of you, won't it? Actually, I'm going to start with that. So I'll just draw like an outline of her instead of touching her. And she's trying to put me in front of her. So she's trying to position me with that stick right in front of her. So again, I'll just stay sticky. And here it's really important to not just get the job done, because it's not about her, like, I don't need her to be able to be touched with my stick. It's about her having some sort of confidence. There. She lowered her head there a little bit. I'll just retreat there. My expectations are very, very low for her. I'm trying to... They're freaking you out. They're freaking you out. Okay.
Will go in the wash bay, will let it hit the hose, and the boom comes over her.
Yeah,
Wash bay.
that's good.
We made progress.
Yeah, for sure. But what's really important is that we make sure that we not just create acceptance with one thing because they've done it like 10 times and now they're like, okay, we've been there 10 times and I survived it, so therefore it must be okay. It's more about, can we create a mindset for her where she is less reactive to things and she gets braver and more, and that in that way it really also matters that we're going to expose her to lots of different things. Yeah, it's not this exactly, and releasing on. I'm just going to have a quick look. Are you going to be worried about my camera? Oh no, it's still on. Yeah, it's following you. It's definitely not desensitizing. It's developing confidence with new things. Good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. Didn't move there. And to build that confidence, it's really, really important that we watch her and release in the right moment where she thinks towards, or she shows some sort of interest, or she shows some sort of curiosity, because that's what you want to reward. It's the thought, not the acceptance of this particular tool. Okay. Now we're going to touch. Good girl. So, good observation. The first time I usually do it, it's when they're really reactive and they move. I actually release just on the stillness. That's like step one for me. But no, there was not acceptance. So well done that you watched that. There was not acceptance of the, it was a release on the freeze, basically. But now, so now she's not moving. Now I will keep it on until we're going to have some sort of acceptance. So there's a bit of a head lowering. Now she's orienting, that's quite common too. So she's like looking away. She's literally looking for a bit of an exit plan. She's like, oh, what if I run over there? Ideally, what you would like her to do, but I doubt that she is going to give that to us, is that she would actually swing the head around and have a look. But I don't think we're going to get that for her today. But what I've so she was sort of looking to the front or to the side, and there was one moment when her pupil, I guess you call it, the little eye, like you can see where the eye is pointing at, where her eye looked at the back. So her head was still like that, but the eye looked at the back. So that's where I released her. Good girl. All right, I'll go on the other side.
That's the stance of the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's freeze, yeah. And there's probably her leg there. There her head came down and she started blinking. Good girl. All right. And with her, I would also try and move as natural as possible. Like those horses quite often try, or they get us to move like, oh, are you all right? And you're going to start sneaking and you're going to be real quiet and you're like, yeah. But the problem with that is that, yes, that might get them out of trouble temporarily, but that's not going to build their confidence in the long run. Yeah, good girl. All right, again, I'll leave it there for today because we made an improvement. So yeah, I don't want to drill with her either. So this was sort of that what I was saying about rhythmic energy. It was the touch. And I was really quiet. I didn't want her to move. So that's that kind of confidence building where she has to read me rather than the tool or whatever it is. We can pick it up a notch with the flag, but I'll see how she's going to go. And so now I'm going to move her with it. So now she's got to read me that now it means moving. So that will be different. So I'll start with that. I'll start with a hind quarter yield, but knowing how sensitive she is, I don't think she's going to have a big problem with that, but I might be proven wrong. So I'll basically look at her bum there. Yep. So here she's frozen. I'll give her a little tap, but I'm going to reset. I'm not going to do anything because I don't want her to move off the tap. That was just to wake her up. I want her to move just by my intention, looking at her there. And I give her a little bit of a cluck. Okay. The back foot is supposed to cross under and the front feet are relatively still. They don't need to be locked in place, but you don't want her to start walking around you. So I don't know if you just saw me. I just was picking up the lead rope and blocking her from stop just going around me. They don't need to be locked in place, but they need to like be relatively still. So that's here now. There. Here now, I believe it could be both, because they do say that horses that are too anxious, that don't want to disengage because you take their defenses away, because if they want to run away, they need their legs not like engaged. So it could be that she doesn't want to disengage because mentally, or it could be that she doesn't have the strength to step under. So, but either, it would be good to practice this with her to get a really good yield out. And I'm talking about really good, mechanically good, as in a really nice step under with the front feet relatively still.
That's almost a really thing, isn't it? They do the post
Yeah,
we're not touching, but that's
yeah,
how they start.
yeah, I think so. It's more, yeah. Here, she blocked me with her front end, so I gave her. Now she panics. There, good. Okay, so that's another thing you have to be mindful with the hindquarters. Sometimes they start coming in with their shoulder and blocking you. So I gave her a tap on the shoulder there to tell her that's not okay, okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to touching her, and that's something I'd love you to play with, is the contrast between, and you got to be really in tune with yourself here, is what are you asking? Yeah? Are you asking, I'm just touching you, or am I asking, I'm going to move? When you ask for the touch, you can be quite clumsy and loud, and you just go up, and you can be quite natural. Like, I think you're a bit of an extroverted person. So you do that quite naturally. Whereas with the yields, you want to be a little bit quiet, because you want them to be really sensitive to that, because you want to be able to almost move them with just your thought. So that's more of like a connection thing and a tuning in thing. Here we go. And then I go back to moving. There, she blocks me again with the shoulder. I say no. Say no. There she walks. She walks. There. She walks. So I block her there. Shoulder.
At the point that I would stop now, because I think
Yeah.
I've got us both so confused now.
Yeah. So here we're tapping into leadership. So I've got a bit of for me, there's a bit of a ladder to training your horse. And do you see how she gets worried about that? So I'm not going to stop doing it. It's like just a normal, I'm just being normal. So I've just got a little bit of a step ladder as to how to educate a horse, or how to build a relationship with a horse. And it always starts with trust. Then it turns into leadership, where they have to like sort of, because they're flight animals, and they actually, most of them want to have a leader. They don't want to be responsible to look out what's safe, what's not, where to go, what to do. They want to know, oh, I can trust you. You make sure that I'm safe. And that's, so leadership, a lot of times people think leadership is dominance. I tell you what to do. I tell you what to, it's not about that. It's about having the responsibility. It's like being a mother. You are the one that's responsible for your child to do the right decisions. You make the decisions so that they're safe, they're secure, they feel good, and all of that kind of stuff. That's what leadership is for me. So after the trust, now we're tapping into that leadership, where I tell her, no. When I ask you to yield, there is a way to do it correctly. So I set you boundaries. One boundary is at the front. You can't just run away. The other boundary is you can't put your shoulder in. And I'm waiting for you, and I keep just very calmly, like I'm super, super calm. I'm not getting angry at her for coming in. I'm not getting angry for her to walk away. I just constantly tell her, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's it. And so and that helps actually an anxious horse a lot, if someone takes responsibility and is like, this is what we're going to do, and this is how it's done, and here is a boundary, and there is a boundary, and within this boundary we're safe. Like, that helps them a lot. So here I'll just go back to touch now. Getting better about that.
Same with brushes.
Oh,
She does that. Walk out of the stable with a brush.
mm.
And that's why she won't hard fly over.
Yeah, okay. Pulls back.
Gonna break the whole bones.
Yeah.
But she would have been hard by
She still had her head high, but she looked at it. So I released there. Do you know what that was about? Not sure. Yeah, off you go. Oh, you've got some botfly thingies there. That's my what makes her. Yeah. Hey, girl. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of fawn response to. Have you heard of fawn? So there's like fight, flight, freeze, and then there's fawn. And fawn is like when you're like trying to be super obedient so that you don't get in trouble. So whenever she does that and then I move, she's like, oh, yeah, am I allowed? It's given me that sort of impression. Yeah, when you train her, definitely go and find those sticky points and do that approach and retreat. And like, that's the only way she's gonna, not by avoidance. All right, and now we're gonna go back to the hind quarter yields. I just would like her to do a good one. So again, not the shoulder, not the forward, not the forward. There, that was a good one. Good girl. And then a lot of moments of like just, yeah.
Do you do believe like co-regulation of yourself?
Yes.
Your breathing and drop it down for her?
Absolutely, absolutely. I do a lot of breathing. Yep. I breathe. Yeah, you can come in, sweetie. Yeah, I usually do like most of the like my horses that I work a lot with, like they're my horses. Like when I go, they go the same. It's like, yeah, so that definitely helps. There we go. And then wait for the lick and shoe is quite important too. Have her back come down. All right, we're going to do the other side now. She's more alert. Now, the other thing with shutdown of frozen horses is like there's a little bit of a, you almost need to get them back. I feel like fight and flight are on the same level. You either, so some horses are more prone to fighting, some more prone to flighting. So innately, some horses they're like that, and then you just build the confidence and you just do the approach and retreat and let them not be that like that. Whereas with the fight, sometimes you do have to bring them back into flight. Anyway, for her, because she freezes, there is going to be like a bridging time when she's going to be really, really flighty. And that's a good thing because it's like a step towards self-regulation because freeze is like she's gone beyond flight. So we need to bring her back to flight so she's alert and she advocates for herself and she says, oh, I'm not okay with that. I'm not, you know, and she lets you know. And there needs to be also in that bridging time a lot of sort of reinforcement of her to feel okay with flight, like for us to allow her to fly and be okay with it. And then she'll learn to be braver, but we can't expect her to be brave from freeze, if that makes sense. So if you do that kind of work and you notice her to get really like all of a sudden she's like trying to bolt a little, or she's like a bit more movie, it's a good thing. It's a good step. What are we doing? First of all, I'm going to touch you here and see how you're with the head here. Yeah. Good. Good girl. So yeah, if you can start doing just and watch your own body posture, like, you know.
Cracks me up because I'm an early childhood teacher.
Yeah.
All the language you're using, all the language you're
Yeah.
using. Training dogs, horses, and children. The same concept.
It is. I'm a mother of 2 little children. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And sometimes I go in my horse training toolbox and I'm like, what would I do if they would be a horse?
Even the language we're using now, like attunement.
Yeah.
I started work, nobody would have known.
No.
That word. Now we're all using attunement.
Yeah.
No regulation.
That's it.
All this sort of language, which is,
Yeah.
often when I'm sitting in a training session for childcare, I'm going,
Definitely, there's definitely a relationship. So right now here, see how she's starting to blink now and does the ears and all of that. And you would, so that's the same as almost shut down, but I'm thinking that she's processing, not shut down, because I'm not asking anything of her. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So when I ask something of her actively and you can see her like she's going to sleep, then it's probably shut down. Whereas if we're having a rest moment and she's starting the whole blinking and stuff, then it's more probably like processing. And then that's usually followed by the lick and chew and the shake and all of that. And you want to have let her have lots of those moments too. So we want to do really hard stuff with her that really like brings out a little bit of anxiety for her, but then we want to have lots of moments where she can come back down, and then over time it will get better and better for her to do that. All right, now we're going to go for the hind quarter yield this side. Or I think we did that one already, didn't we? Confusing. That was a good one. That was a good one. Good job. And I also believe that horses do notice when they get praised, like, and it becomes, I feel like it's almost for some horses more than for others less, but I feel like it's almost like giving them a treat. Like they're going to get the same sort of dopamine release. You're like, good, like, you know, and like you combine it with whatever feels natural to you. You can say good girl or well done or whatever feels good to you. And then it becomes like that reward. Yeah, you can do it. Good, yes. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, I'll drop the lead for you. How about that? Too scary?
where do you keep your
Not sure.
horses?
In Summer Island. I live in, let's cut that out, in Southwest Rock. Yeah, I live in Southwest Rocks. We just have a town as we don't have a farm yet. And I just keep them on a farm in Summer Island. And then my in-laws, they own the buffalo farm. Yeah, and they got horses there. So, yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna, nice. So the reason I decided to keep going was that because she was backing up like, holy moly, and she wasn't like, but I don't want her to back up because she's scared. I want her to back up because she understands that I'm asking her. Exactly, yeah. So if she reacts to it, and that's also a really big horsemanship skill to understand or to recognize when is my horse reacting and when is my horse responding. Reaction, they're always quite braced and quick and like, I mean, I feel like if you tune in, you pretty much know. And the response, they become more thoughtful, slower, and they do that more with. Good girl. Here we go. All right, let's try that again. Good. So there was a moment of even hesitation. So that's good. It's good for her because the first one was reaction. So now we had a response.
Was that like a thinking, like,
Yeah, like a thinking like, oh, should I do it? So for her, it's probably, if she's not frozen, it's probably a good thing for her to slow her feet down. You're right. All right, and then we'll do the front end yield. So I sort of point and ask her. So there she tried to run away from it. So I'll just draw a line and say, no, I don't want you to run away. No, I don't want you to run away. Again, I'm really, no. I'm very calm. So I asked for the sideways step. Said, no, we're not going to run away. 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 Yeah, good girl. Good job. So again, I wanted her to cross over the front end, but not walk out of it.
that sort of more or less stay still?
Yes. So it's the opposite of the hind quarter yields. It's the forehand yield, but more or less. I'm not particular on it. I'm more particular what do they do with their front end. Shall we try that again? All right. Good girl. So here she steps even under and backs up a little bit. Way better than what we had before, right? Now she's thinking more of like, I'm yielding away from what you're asking rather than I'm just reacting and I'm panicking and I'm rushing forward. So for me, with those yields right now, it's not about having them mechanically or biomechanically executed properly. It's more about what's she thinking in that moment. What like, is she listening? Is she panicking? Is she reacting, responding? Is she understanding that I'm asking her to yield? And then you could pamper in from here again. I might just, because I just went to the front end, now my body is not saying yield. My body is saying, I'll just give you a scratch here. And that's, she needs to understand that way better, yeah? Yeah, good. You did it. There you go. Starting to understand it better. All right. Good girl. I'm going to go this side now. Touch on behind the ears. Yeah, good girl. All right. And then we're going to move the front. Not walking out. Good girl. Good. Not walking out. Not walking out. Not walking out. Did you just fart? I think she just farted. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Okay, so that took a little longer because of her sensitivity of like, but I think we've made some progress from, you know, just, I mean, it gives me a good picture of like, I just know where she's at exactly in terms of, I think a lot of it is mentally and just being anxious. Okay, so from here now, I think we can start practicing some confidence training and proprioception.